What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Seven Figure Photographer Live. It's a beautiful Monday. Well, it's not very beautiful in Idaho. In fact, it's kind of gross weather outside. We left. Well, I think there was kind of gross weather the whole time we were gone, and we left and came back to more gross weather. I was looking forward to my beautiful Idaho summer, but apparently it's not here yet. So, I'm excited to talk to you guys today. I'm excited to be home. Let me tell you, driving across the country to Pennsylvania, as amazing and wonderful as it is, it's a long drive. So, and it's a real challenge, but it was really fun and it was an incredible experience. But most of all, it was a great opportunity for me to just do some thinking and really just think about myself, my business, my family, the things I want for my family. And ultimately, I came up with this concept that I wanted to talk about today. I was really excited about talking about it. I was like, man, I got to get home because I want to do my live on Monday. And it is about the ECG, or the ultimate heartbeat test for your photography business. Before we get started in that, we're going to do a quick intro. What's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Marvin, and I have been in the photography industry for 25 plus years. While I love being a creative, business is my passion, and elevating the industry of photography is my focus. I created the Seven Figure Photographer to share my journey to seven figures and to help others find their way too.
That's amazing.
All right, so if you guys are here hanging out with us, I see there's a few people here hanging out. Make sure to comment in the chat and just let me know who's here, who's hanging out. I love to talk to those who are here, obviously to those who are going to be here, but I just like to see who I'm hanging out with and just who's here hanging out with me. So make sure to comment. If you are on your phone and you got the link to this via the text message and you can't seem to find the chat, make sure to hit the button where it says open app and log into your YouTube, and then that way you can comment and be able to share with us. Unfortunately, Mia's not here with me today, and so therefore I'm going to be taking advantage or taking care of all the chat. Anybody that comments, I'm going to be reading those, so it's going to be one of those back to the olden days kind of thing. So make sure, I'm even back to the olden days on the hair. My hats are like destroyed, and I haven't gotten a new hat, as my wife would know. In fact, funny story, I went fishing I don't remember when it was. It was a month ago. And I caught a fish. It got into the boat, fell off the hook, and started flopping around in the boat, fell down on top of one of my hats. And it was like a brand new hat. It was the first day I'd worn it. And it like just slimed up my hat. Didn't think nothing of it. I didn't see nothing on my hat. I put my hat on, and the next day I was sitting here at my desk, and I was like, I keep smelling like fish. And I was like, it finally occurred to me that it was the fish that landed on my hat, and it was like right here, right above my face. And I was like, I keep smelling this nasty smell. I showered, everything was good, but I'm smelling this nasty smell, and it was driving me crazy. Fast forward, we had a graduation party that I went to. I'm sitting there talking to my client. I'm smelling that smell again. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I can smell this. That means if I can smell it, they can smell it. I smell like this dirty, fishy bastard. And I was grossed out. And it took me forever to realize the whole time I had that hat on, because it was a clean hat. It looked fine. It looked good. And I just grabbed it because my other hat got dirty. And it was just grungy. And so I grabbed that hat and put it on, not thinking anything of it. And I get to my client's house. I'm sitting there talking to him, and I smell like dirty fish. So I haven't gotten to get a new hat. I was like, man, they don't want to see me with my hair just all like, I pretty much didn't wear a hat for the last 2 weeks because I didn't care. It was just enjoying myself. So today we're going to talk about some real fun. I'm going to share some stories and kind of some funny stories. My wife is here, and so she'll get to roll her eyes because I can tell she's already going to be rolling her eyes about this. But obviously, for those of you who know, we just went on vacation to Pennsylvania, and it was a great experience. My son got to sit in the back seat the whole time, and I'm sure that sucked because on the way out there, it seemed like too long to get out there. When we came home, we kind of like made it a long haul. We hoofed it home and we got home in like 2.5 days. So, or technically, like if you really put it together, like 2 full days of driving. Now, one of the days that we were out there, of course, I was being a little bit critical of my son because here we are. We drove him out to Pennsylvania to spend time with his grandpa. He's out there and he keeps hiding in the bedroom playing video games, which makes me furious. As you can always tell, like the whole video game thing just makes me furious with my kid. Not that it's a bad thing. It's okay to play video games. I play video games. Like, it's okay. It's the amount that you choose to play video games and the amount that you choose to play video games over doing anything else. What's up, Tim Goats? Welcome. And so that's really kind of like what frustrates me. So we're out there. One day we decided to go do something, and my father-in-law loves books. He went to a used bookstore, which just doesn't do it for me. I love going to Barnes & Noble, but just a used bookstore just didn't do it for me. And so my son and I went out to the car. We were sitting there talking. And in talking, of course, like I was like, okay, I'm going to approach the subject as more of like just a good conversation with my son so that he doesn't feel like I'm just lecturing him, because that's what he always thinks. I'm just lecturing him. And so I kind of get into this conversation with him. And one of the questions I asked him is I said, what would it take to get you, like, what would be kind of like your magical number, magical thing to get you to stop playing video games? Like, let's just get them out of our lives. Completely get rid of it. Of course, probably the wrong thing to say. But, you know, my son made a comment that really kind of like, it destroyed me. And I'm going to tell you what the comment was here in a second. But it really kind of destroyed me. We've all had the comments that our parents made to us as kids that like sat on our hearts and kind of like grew with us, and they just grew more and more painful. This was one of those comments. And I remember the day that I made the comment. I remember the moment I said it, and I was like, of all the things, like, but I even paused for a second before I said it, and I still chose to say it because I really felt passionately about it. And the comment was, I told my son, I said, I will support you in anything you choose to do in your life except for video gaming. Because my son decided he wants to be a pro gamer, and great, it is a possibility. And I'm not here, like, of all the people in the world, I'm not here to crap on people's dreams or to tell them like there's no chance, because that was what happened to me in my life. And that's why this comment really just like, it hurt me. But I told him that. I said, I will support you in doing anything you want. I will buy anything. I will help you do anything. Anything, as long as it's not video gaming. I even bought him a Glowforge years ago because he wanted to do fingerboards. And that lasted for like 15 days. And then he moved on to something else. He finally kind of started to use the Glowforge, but I was tired of it. He was going through these ups and downs, just wasn't doing a lot. And so I sold it. Now, this particular situation, he brings up as we're talking, he says, Dad, I kind of just stopped telling you about the things that I'm doing because you said that you wouldn't support me in gaming. And that's what really hurt me. And I was like, man, do I let him do anything he wants? Do I let him kind of govern his own life? Because that's kind of where I've gone in my parenting. Now, guys, I know this has like very little to do with business, but I'm going to get to it, I promise. I kind of have taken this thing. I've loosened the reins on him a little bit. And I've said, for instance, with school, I've said, okay, I don't care what your GPA is or what grades you get, as long as you do the work to the best of your ability and you don't miss assignments. Like, I don't care what the end result is. Of course, I hope you don't have to redo grades, but that's your own damn problem. He ended up with a 3 something GPA this year. I was stoked. I don't care about the grades and except for him being, getting his work done and that stuff. We used to not allow him to play video games during the week, and he was only allowed to play on the weekends. But the problem that we saw was that on the weekends we would run into this challenge of we couldn't get him out of the damn house because he wanted to have his video game time. And so we decided, you know what? We said that as long as you do your schoolwork and you get that done, that we'll let you play video games, right? So we kind of changed that policy. We moved it around. And I finally was like, I'm not gonna stop you from playing video games during the week because I wanted to get the weekends back with him. I was like, I don't care if you play video games during the week per se, but I gave some stipulations, and I was just trying to give him a little bit more opportunity to govern himself and to make good choices for himself. And it hasn't really worked. It's actually kind of backfired. It's not kind of backfired. It's really backfired. And so this whole situation was just kind of eating at me for the rest of the day after he made this comment. It just ate at me. And it's bizarre how kids can use emotional warfare towards their parents, but parents are supposed to not use guilt and shame and emotional warfare back towards the kids because it hurts them so much deeper than you would think. But I don't think we realize the emotional warfare that our kids use on us is painful. When kids use certain things that they know hurts us. For instance, my son has heard about all of the guilt and shame experiences that I've dealt with religion and with my parents, and he used that against me in that particular situation. He says, Dad, you know how you always said that your parents guilted you and made you feel bad? Well, you do the same thing to me and make me feel guilty for not wanting to do more with you because I choose to play video games. And that's not fair to me. And I was like, gosh, damn, he's kind of right. But I'm not trying to guilt him. I'm trying to speak reason with him. And so, of course, moving forward, that was painful. And I was like, okay, do I make the decision he's 15 years old. I don't personally, and this is a perfect example of, I don't think that he's old enough to make a decision for himself. I've tried it time and time again. He doesn't govern himself well on his own. So at what point do I know I can't be his best friend. I got to be his parent. But at what point do you stop or do you loosen the reins and let kids grow on their own and have the hard knocks and the pain? And where do you step in? And so this literally just brewed inside me for days. And finally on the way home, Michelle and I were listening to a bunch of books on Audible, and man, I forgot how much that just really inspires me on a regular basis. And it really kind of inspired something in me. And I was like, I want to let him govern himself, but I want him to make better decisions when he's governing himself. I want him to make good decisions. And so I was like, what is that one thing that I can leave with him if I were to die tomorrow that he could say, you know what, this is what my dad always told me. He said, govern yourself by these principles, these concepts. What are those things? And so I thought about it and I was like, okay, I made a list of these things. And this is while I'm driving, I'm making a list of these things. And I'm asking Michelle some questions, and it happens to be about an ECG, EKG, and I'm asking her, I'm like, what's the difference between an ECG and an EKG? And what's this, all these different things. And she keeps asking me, what is this about? What are you trying to get at? And I was like, just hold on. I'm like, I'm not really ready to tell you about this yet. Just wait for a minute. I'm not ready to talk to you about it yet. I was like, I promise I'll tell you tonight, but I'm not ready to talk about it now. So we get to our hotel, and I'm doing a lot more thought about it. I'm like, okay, I really want to talk to Rylan about this. I want to talk to Michelle about this, but I want it to be one of those moments that's just like inspiring. And so I went to sleep, and she was annoyed. She was super mad at me. And she, finally the next day she told me, she's like, I was like Googling things like, what should I be looking out for? She was so worried that I was having some sort of health condition that I wasn't telling her about. Now, this kind of goes back to during COVID. I snuck out in the middle of the night and I went to the emergency room because I thought I was having some heart issues. And she woke up to find me not there. She texted me, she called me. She's like, where the hell are you? And I said, I'm in the emergency room right now because I'm having some heart issues. And of course it freaked her the heck out. But in COVID, like, I knew that she couldn't really go in there. Anyway, it was kind of one of those situations. So here's what I came up with. And as I came up with this, I realized that this is a really good like litmus test for where you're at in your business and where you're at in your life. Like, you could use this, and maybe you guys will think this is corny as hell, but I really think that you can use this as a great litmus test for your business. Now, what is a litmus test? It's kind of like maybe that's the wrong word. I'm pretty sure it's the correct word. Tim, who sneaks away and goes to the emergency room without telling their spouse? I was trying to, I was like, maybe, I don't think that it was a heart attack. I just knew that it wasn't right. And so I went to get it checked out, and it was just indigestion is what they told me. They were like, your heart looks good. They did an ECG on me, or an EKG, which in determining it's like, they're pretty much one and the same. And all that is that ECG is just that test that shows like your heartbeat and if there's any irregularities in it. And those irregularities, or that test, can kind of tell you, okay, your heart has been doing well, but it's showing some past experiences of something that we should be concerned about. Or it's showing things that could be a concern in the future. And so the ECG test or the EKG is an electrocardiogram, which basically just looks at the heart, and it gives those little bumpy lines that you see on every doctor show or everything on TV where it shows, the flat line. If it's not bouncing up and down and it flatlines, you're dead, right? So we have our business, and our business sometimes it is up and down. And if there's not some sort of movement in there, then it's kind of dead. And so I was like, I want to come up with this litmus test. And so as we were driving, I know this is not great, but we're driving through Illinois or Indiana, I think it was. And I made a list of like all the things that I was like, what would I want Rylan to consider if he had to have like this litmus test for everything he did in his life? Like, if you're going to spend a day doing something and you want to look back at that day and say, did I have a good day? Or I want to do something new. I want to invest in something, or I want to go to a party, or I want to go do something. I wanted to have a litmus test that he could say, does it fit these three things? And I think that what it ultimately boils down to is I think that it really is a great heartbeat test for your business, because it's a good way to look at what's my business been doing and where's it going and where does it sit right now. And so that's why I came up with the concept of the ECG, which is the litmus test for your business and for your life. Now, ultimately, there's no heartbeat test you can put on your business. Like, you can't hook it up to some machine and say, is it good? Yeah. Can you look at the metrics and see, okay, I got this many people coming in, this many people being serviced, and I'm broke as a joke. It's not working, right? There's some of those litmus tests. But maybe it has to do with some of these factors more so than you might think when it comes to your business. So I came up with this and I told my son, I said, I want you to have something that you can really judge everything you do in your life and going forward. I want you to be able to look at it and say, I am, got somebody coming in here. Hello? Oh, hey. So I want basically, sorry about that. I just had somebody come in. I wasn't expecting anybody. Preached him. Michelle's supporting your comment. So anyway, I want him to have these three things that he can look at and say, okay, I just did this, or I'm getting ready to do this. What are these three things? So I came up with the concept of, or these 6 things that I wrote down that I was like, I really, really want, these are the 6 things that I want him to consider. And I realized 6 things, that's a lot of things to think about. And I kind of narrowed it down. I even asked Michelle, I was like, hey, if I made an acronym for these 6 letters, what would it give you? And I came up with this, and this is the ECG. So in your business, think about these 3 things. Number 1, the E, and what it stands for is, does it enrich your life and enhance your life? And so I think that this is a really great way to take these things and say, okay, so far my business is not enriching my life, or it is making me feel great. Now, if you guys don't know what enrich means, obviously it means to make it better, to make it, look it up, go Google enrich, or to enhance it. Is it making it better? Are the things that I've been doing enriching my life? Okay, so that's E. Does it enrich and does it enhance? So those were 2 of the 6. Now the C, in this particular situation, is, does it build character and integrity? And I think that this really kind of outlines the opportunity to take risk. Because in business, you have to take risk. In life, you have to take risk. If you're not moving forward and taking risks and failing and getting up and trying again, then you're kind of stagnant. And so the C stands for character. Does it build character, and does it uphold your integrity? Because I think integrity is it's the one thing that if we don't have in our lives, if we don't have integrity, we kind of got nothing, especially in business. So does it improve your character, or does it build character and uphold your integrity? And I think that that's great, because I think that so much about business builds your character. So much about the hard knocks in life, the hard things that we do, the times, the number of times that we fall on our face and we get up, that builds our character. And then the G is another great thing. And one of the biggest reasons I come up with this is because this is something I've been going over with my son a lot. This is something that I believe in greatly. And it's really, now goals is not the G, because I didn't want to railroad it into just that. But if we don't have something we're working for, or something that we're growing that is making us grow, then what are we doing? Just sitting on the couch doing nothing? And so ultimately the G stands for, does it help you grow? And does it help you achieve? Which the achieve part, I think, really is where, if we have no point of destination, we have no goal. We're literally doing nothing. We're not trying to grow or trying to achieve goals. We're not trying to achieve our dreams. We're not trying to achieve anything. Then we're really stagnant. So the point of this, and what I wanted you guys to hopefully get from this, is that this is a great opportunity, a great litmus test for your life and for your business. Does it enrich and enhance your life? Does it build character and preserve your integrity? And does it help you grow and achieve? And if you ultimately can look at your business right now and say, you know, my business does help me. It does enrich my life and enhances my life. And it does build character because it's hard. And I think that I have good integrity, but it doesn't seem to grow and achieve. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. Then like that's maybe one of the places you have to look at your business and say, what can I do to make sure that my business is growing, that it's helping me grow, and that it's helping me achieve? Now, if you look at it and you say, two of these three are not even part of my business. Maybe it's not helping you build character or preserve your integrity. Like, there's a point where you have to start to consider, okay, am I on the right path? Like, maybe this business isn't right for me, or maybe this part of my life isn't right for me. And can I make it right for me, or am I just chasing something that doesn't really fulfill me entirely? Now, this is not for anybody specifically. I'm not like pointing fingers at anybody. If you hear this live and you think, oh my gosh, Sam's using me as an example again, it is not. If anything, it is about what I learned, own personal experience with my son, and really understanding that I want him to focus on growth and achieving something in his life. And I want him to have integrity. That's like, if there's nothing else, I want him to have integrity in his life. And so I think that it's really good. And some of the things that, like, and don't get me wrong, this is not me trying to say that I'm pivoting, but sometimes it is necessary in our lives and in our business to change the direction of where we're going or what we're doing. And sometimes it's just a good time to take a vacation and go on vacation and think about things, and to reset the bar, to really consider, okay, like, I got to buckle down and make this work, or I need to change directions in my life. I need to pivot, as they say, or I got to change something. And maybe it's just looking at your business and saying, you know what? Sam's right. Like, I'm really not doing any of these things to my business, but I want to. And I think these are the things that I could do to make sure that I've got a good pulse on my business, and I've got a good idea of where things are going. So I know that was kind of an interesting take on things. Maybe you think it's corny. I don't care what you think of it. I think it's a great opportunity for my son and for me to really kind of have that simple test to look at everything we do. Because ultimately, like, if you have your core values, you're going to understand that, like, something is not preserving your personal integrity or your business's integrity, or it's not helping you grow, or it's not helping you achieve. And maybe you're in your business and you're like, you know what? I really don't want those things. Maybe I don't want to grow. If that's you, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you, but maybe you should consider those things. And so one more time, the ECG, again, I chose those letters because it worked with my 6 letters in my acronym that I was trying to come up with, and I wanted to make it super simple for myself and for my son to remember it, and to be able to do this, like, to think about this by memory. I've joked about wanting to get my first tattoo. Not even kidding you. This might be the first tattoo that I get. It's just something to remind me of this ECG. Not only to check think about my own personal life and maybe my own personal health, but to check my pulse on my life, my business, my family's life, everything I'm doing, and really make sure that I'm on the right track. And so I think I always forget how much, vacation or taking time away, kind of forcing yourself. We were busy. We couldn't really do a whole lot that had to do with business. I found myself even trying to conduct business while we were at, a park, and a theme park with my son. And I was trying to get some business done because I didn't want to leave people hanging. But it ultimately just gave me an opportunity to really think about a lot of things personally. Where do I want to go with my business? What is my focus? What really enriches and enhances my life? And so, again, the E is for enrich and enhance, the C is for character and integrity, and the G is for grow and achieve. So, keep those things, think about them. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. I'm going to give it a little bit of time just to read. I guess we don't have many comments. Michelle just said, preach, Tim. And maybe if you guys do have, scares, like health scares, don't sneak out in the middle of the night and go to the emergency room. I just knew that, like, if I said anything about my heart, my wife was going to, because I'm a big fella, like, everybody's expecting I'm probably going to croak out one of these days from a heart attack. But that's like always a fear. And so I knew that if I told her that I was like, I'm having some struggles, like I'm not sure what's going on, she would probably overthink it, as she always does. So I hope that was beneficial for you guys. I was excited to share it with you. I'm still excited. I hope it was something you guys liked and can be excited about. If not, I don't care. I mean, I tried. So take that for what it's worth. I hope you guys have a lot of great opportunities in your pipeline, and working on your business. And we will talk to you again soon. So peace out, Girl Scout. And I don't even remember if I can do this right.